We act from this hustle culture. We act from this not enoughness, and we burn out. You're overwhelmed. You're chronically fatigued. You have no sense of fulfillment. You give. You have a lot of shame and doubt, and you're a modern woman. It's very typical. So you're like, yeah, everyone else is too. But you're not listening to this because you want to be like everybody else. You're listening to this because you want a different life.
Are you ready to take back control of your time and energy? But the thought of where to start feels overwhelming. I created something for you. It's called the Energy Finder Quiz. Yep. This quiz takes less than 2 minutes and it helps you identify where to focus so you can conquer your dreams without feeling like you're failing as a mother. After coaching hundreds of women, helping them reverse engineer how they want to feel in their personal and professional lives, I started to notice 4 hidden skills that women must master in order to create the work-life balance that they crave. So head on over to Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/life quiz. heatherchauvin.com/life, LIFE quiz, QUIZ, and get started. I even give you specific podcast episodes to listen to based on your Energy Finder quiz results. The goal is to show you where to focus so you can regain your time and energy and become the woman you deeply know you are capable of becoming. heatherchauvin.com/life quiz. I don't believe freedom is more time or more money. I believe time and money are tools when used correctly. But true freedom to me is giving myself permission to lean into my desires. Hello, ladies, and I am so excited to share what we are calling the best of summer episodes. And what I decided to do, I want to give you a little background information. What I decided to do was really get clear on how do I want to feel in my life this summer. And reflecting on my kids' ages and where I'm at in my business and just the time and the space that I want, that I don't need to ask anyone for their permission. So then I have to take action and I have to communicate my needs. So what we decided to do is create some space for the rest of the summer. And so what you're going to be hearing over the next few weeks is the best of podcasts. So these are some of my hand-picked podcasts, some of my favorite interviews that I've had, and really good conversations. And if you have already listened to these episodes and it's popping back up in your feed and you're listening to this, I highly encourage you to listen again because you just never know what kind of gems you are going to hear. It's like reading a book again and again and again and getting something different every single time that you're listening. I also wanted to remind you that if you heard about the Energy Finder quiz, go take that and send me a message on Instagram. So I might not be podcasting, but I'm popping in and out of social. So go find me on Instagram at Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN. Send me a private message and let me know what were the results that you got on your Energy Finder quiz. And I hope wherever you are in the world, you are giving yourself permission to create freedom in your life. Time freedom, emotional freedom, going for your dreams, even if it scares the crap out of you. Creating the connections that you want and desire with your family, but also doing the wildly emotionally uncomfortable work to come back to yourself and be present even when other people don't agree with your actions. You are worthy of feeling good, and you are also worthy of healing the relationships that you desire to create in your life. So happy summer and enjoy today's episode.
What I've done to fuel my personal growth. Hey, Hey, it's Heather Chauvin, wife, mother of 3 boys, former social worker, dreamer, recovering rescuer, stage 4 cancer survivor. I started my motherhood journey when I was 18. I was single and living off government assistance. Beyond all of these titles and labels, I'm a human being, just like you, attempting to navigate it all while feeling good. My goal on this podcast is to show you that you can live an energized, sustainable life, both at home and in your work. On this show, I attempt to keep it real with stories, interviews, and random thoughts. This is not a business or career podcast, and it's not a parenting podcast. It's both and so much more. You will laugh, you will cry, and maybe even get a little frustrated with the truth you've been hiding from yourself. I believe all human behavior is a language, whether it's through your child's behavior, your health, or a relationship. And when we learn to listen instead of react, we begin to understand what it truly means to feel alive and in control. If you haven't already, go grab a copy of my book, Dying to Be a Good Mother. You can purchase it wherever books are sold online. And if you're interested in how to integrate this work into your life and get quicker results, you can learn more about my mastery and mastery business coaching experiences at heatherchauvin.com/work with me. Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me. And you have a personal question or a topic you'd like me to answer on this podcast, then text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. All right, let's change your life. Let's dig in. Hey, all right. Heads up and a warning that I'm really spicy today, and it's going to be a hardcore Heather Chauvin pep talk. And before we dive into that, today I'm actually going to read a post to you that I reshared on my personal Facebook. And I'm going to talk personally after I read this about how I have really had to begin to embody this message and what I've had to do on a personal level to gain alignment, to gain freedom, to gain ease, all of that fun stuff. So let's dive in to today's conversation or today's topic, which is all about taking radical responsibility for how you want to feel. And I thought this little fable that I'm going to read to you was appropriate because it's a visual of how when we change as people, right? How when we change, others react to our change and they wonder, what's going on? Are you okay? Until they realize, oh crap, this is the new her. And this is also proof that when we change, other people change too, for the better. And that all we can do is really worry about ourselves. So let's dive in. So if you want to read the whole thing, you can see there's a picture. You can just find me on Facebook. It's my personal profile, Heather Chauvin. It's like a little cartoon of a woman in the shower, and it looks like her husband or partner is kind of staring at her like she's lost it or something. The reading of this too doesn't appear that English was their first language, so I may mess up a few things. So here we go. My mom had a lot of problems. She did not sleep. She felt exhausted. She was irritable, grumpy, and bitter. She was always sick until one day, suddenly, she changed. One day, my dad said to her, "I've been looking for a job for 3 months and I haven't found anything. I'm going to have a few beers with friends." My mom replied, "It's okay." My brother said, "Mom, I'm doing poorly in all subjects in university." My mom replied, "Okay, you will recover, and if you don't, you'll have to repeat the semester, but you'll have to pay for your tuition." My sister said to her, "Mom, I smashed the car." "Okay, daughter, take it to the mechanic, find out how to pay for it, and while they fix it, get around by bus or subway. Her daughter-in-law said to her, "Mother-in-law, I came to spend a few months with you." My mom replied, "Okay, settle on the living room couch, look for some blankets in the closet." All of us gathered around worried to see these reactions coming from mom. We suspected that she had gone to the doctor and she was being prescribed some pills called "I don't give a damn" about 1,000 milligrams. Perhaps she was overdosing on these. We then proposed to do an intervention to my mother to remove her from any possible addiction she had towards some anti-tantrum medication. But what was not the surprise was when we all gathered around and my mom explained. It took me a really long time to realize that each person is responsible for their life. It took me years to discover that my anguish, my mortification, my depression, and my courage, and my insomnia and stress did not solve their problems, but aggravated mine. I am not responsible for the actions of others, but I am responsible for the reactions I express to them. Therefore, I came to the conclusion that my duty to myself is to remain calm and let each one solve their problems. I have taken courses in yoga, meditation, miracles, human development, mental hygiene, vibration, and neuro-linguistic programming. And in all of them, I found a common denominator. Finally, they all lead to the same point. And it is that I can only interfere with myself. You have all the necessary resources to solve your own problems. I can only give you my advice if you ask me, and it depends on you to follow it or not. So from now on, I let go. Your life is your responsibility. Your life is your responsibility. From now on, I declare all independent and self-sufficient adults. Everyone at my mom's house was speechless. From that day on, my family began to function better because everyone in the house knows exactly what it is they need to do. And for some of us, this is hard because we've grown up being the caregivers, feeling responsible for others. Breathe, release, and relax. They will figure it out eventually. All right. So, as you know, when I started my journey, parenting was my biggest pain point. Parenting is one of those intimate relationships where your children just mirror your deepest wounds. They mirror. And our culture buys into this. And you look everywhere, all the devices and things that they try to teach us and get us to buy into to control our children. Control, fear-based strategies. But the truth is, my belief is anyways, that our children were gifted to us to teach us. They're just teachers. And we are here to guide them spiritually. But when we believe that we need to have the answers, that we need to be perfect, we act from this hustle culture. We act from this not enoughness. And we burn out. You're overwhelmed. You're chronically fatigued. You have no sense of fulfillment. You give. You have a lot of shame and doubt. And you're a modern woman. It's very typical. So you're like, yeah, everyone else is too. But you're not listening to this because you want to be like everybody else. You're listening to this because you want a different life. So if you want to be different than everybody else, if you're like, I don't want to be like them, then stop pretending. So after I had that aha moment in my parenting, I brought all those issues to my business. And I did the exact same thing in my business. And then when cancer hit 7 years ago, it was that like hard stop. Cancer was my COVID. It was that hard stop. And it was like, what is no longer working is going to fizzle. Like it's gone. Get rid of it. Let's redesign what we desire. What do you want, Heather? How do you want to feel? And then I reversed engineered every single aspect of my life. But here's the thing. It wasn't a one and done. It's not just, oh, Heather had cancer and then, this miraculous mindset shift. I have to recommit to the life that I want every single day. Every single day. Every single day. Thought by thought, moment by moment, choice by choice. Every single day. Are my actions in alignment with my vision, with my goals, with how I want to feel? Why am I doing this? How did I get here? Well, I had to take action. I had to think that it was possible. And so often I will hear people say, I don't have the time. And I'm like, but you don't have the time because you've been conditioned to believe that everybody else but you matters. So instead of saying, I don't have the time, say, wow, it's wildly uncomfortable to even consider what I want. Just consider that. I can't afford it. You can't afford it? You can't afford it. Is it that you can't afford it, or the fact that even considering anything for yourself that would be soul fulfilling makes you want to vomit and shit your pants, and it makes you feel selfish or guilty, or you're going to ruffle some feathers? Because the truth is, like you heard me say in the story, you will ruffle feathers, but that's because you are a change maker. That's because you are a leader. And if you do not identify as a leader, raising the next generation of human, why is that not considered leadership to you? Why is that not considered important? Who taught you that your wants, needs, and desires don't matter? And the more important question is, why are you okay with that story? Why are you okay with having chronic overwhelm as your go-to feeling? How come joy and passion and a sense of peace are not your norm? So for some of you, you might be thinking, they are my norm and I'm so grateful. I've done so much work to get here. And some of you might be thinking, I don't know where the fuck to start. Here's my point. It's a journey. It's a journey. And so many people will say, what exactly did you do? And I will tell you exactly what I did. You want to know? I listened to that voice inside of me. Remember that question I always give you? Wouldn't it be nice if? I wrote that down on a piece of paper. Wouldn't it be nice if? And then I started writing. Wouldn't it be nice? And everything that came out of me, that's called a desire. That's from my inner self. That's from the core of my being, the knowing. And when I started acting on those things little by little, just little breadcrumbs, just leaning in, leaning in, leaning in, leaning in. When I started doing that, I stopped yelling. I stopped yelling at my kids. When I stopped putting everybody else's needs before my own. And I'd say, I don't have the capacity for that right now. And someone else would be like, oh, you're never there. You're never there for me. And I would feel really anxious, or I would feel like I'm a bad person because I was like, feeding myself. I thought, damn, I'm drowning over here. I'm trying to implement a boundary and this person can't see that I'm drowning. And they don't really care that I'm drowning. Is that the type of person I want in my life? So it got wildly emotionally uncomfortable before I understood how to hold the capacity for freedom and joy and ease. And then had the courage to really go after what I wanted in my life. And then you get to one point in your life and you're like, oh crap, there's a next level, there's a next level, there's a next level. There's always more. There's always going to be more. The learning never stops. But here's the thing. If you're not even willing to start, the least you can do is admit that. If you're not even willing to start, the least you can do is admit that. All right. I am so curious what this episode triggered inside of you. Did you have to listen to it multiple times? And if you want to engage in a conversation with me, then text me 313-710-5199. 313-710-5199. It is an American phone number. I use it for the podcast. Text me. What did you think? Was that a punch in the face? Was it refreshing? I want to know. Talk soon. Well, that's it. And I wanted to thank you for listening today because I truly believe you are exactly where you need to be. And now I have a favor to ask. In exchange for the value you've gained from this free podcast, I'd be forever grateful if you would leave us a review on iTunes. Share the show with at least one woman in your life who you feel would benefit, and or take a screenshot and share it on social media. And always feel free to tag me at Heather Chauvin. The world does not benefit from your guilt and fatigue. The world needs more women who are willing to unlearn everything they've been taught. Women who are courageous enough to feel good and not let guilt run the show. I believe you are that courageous woman. To see if my community and coaching is the right fit for you and your big vision, the relationships you desire, the money, time, energy that you know deep down you are capable of creating, then head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me. That's Heather Chauvin, CHAUVIN.com/work with me, and take the next step in the right direction. Taking a stand for how you feel means you are taking a stand for how your children show up as adults. And if you have a personal question or topic you'd like me to answer on the podcast, text me 313-710-5199.
Hi, I'm Laura Reynolds, and I'm a wife, a mom, and I was a full-time worker in corporate, and I found Heather's work because I heard her on the You is You podcast as a guest, and her words just resonated with me. I joined Mastery because I had been in the corporate environment for about 16 years, and I knew something was off. I knew I wanted something different, but I didn't know what, and I'd spent so much time not listening to myself that I just felt stuck. I didn't know where to turn. I didn't know where to go. I knew something needed to change, but I didn't know what. So a ton of things have changed, but I'd say the biggest thing that's changed is that I now spend time listening to myself, and I can actually hear and know what I want and know how to implement that change. So I actually ended up through this program figuring out that I wanted to leave my corporate job, and I actually have started a new career. So I am happier than I've ever been. I just needed that support, that accountability, the tools that Heather gives to figure out how to listen to myself, how to reverse engineer what I wanted to feel like, and then how to implement with small changes. And so I'm forever grateful.
There it is. You just listened to the Emotionally Uncomfortable podcast. If you want to take this conversation to the next level, head on over to our private Facebook group community. heatherchauvin.com/Facebook. My last name is spelled CHAUVIN. That's heatherchauvin.com/Facebook. Also, if you are a huge fan of this show, please rate and review it on iTunes. Every review helps another woman like you take back control of how she wants to feel and become emotionally uncomfortable. I truly believe the better we feel, the more alive we become. This is how we are going to change the world. And if you've been watching me for a while, if you've been on the fence and you're curious, how can Heather help me? Head on over to heatherchauvin.com/work with me to check out my mastery and mastery business coaching programs. That's heatherchauvin.com/work with me.